Madam, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
All the best, madam.
Thank you, sir. నేను ఇంజెక్షన్ వేయించుకున్నారా సార్?
లేదు మేడం, అక్కడ వేరకు డోస్ అయిపోయిందని చెప్పారు. ఇప్పుడు ఫస్ట్ డోస్ ఇవ్వమండి, సెకండ్ డోస్ ఇస్తున్నామని చెప్పారు వాళ్ళు.
అచ్చా, ఫస్ట్ కూడా అవ్వలేదా మీది?
ఫస్ట్ కూడా కాలేదు మేడం.
ఆహాహా.
మళ్ళీ వేరే ఆప్షన్స్ ఎక్కడన్నా డ్రైవ్ ఉంటే వెళ్ళండి సార్, ఏం అవసరం లేదు, ఇట్లా ఆన్లైన్ అపాయింట్మెంట్ ఏం అవసరం లేదు, డైరెక్ట్ వెళ్ళండి అని
Good
చెప్తున్నారు.
morning, teachers.
గుడ్ మార్నింగ్
Good
సార్.
morning, ma'am.
ఈ సాటర్డే సండే ఇక్కడ మన కాలనీలో స్కూల్లో చెప్తే కూడా ఉన్నాయి సార్. అంటే స్కూల్ అంటే
ఉన్నాయా
కాలనీలో
మేడం?
వేస్తున్నారు.
ఓకే
ఆ, స్వప్న మ్యామ్కి ఇన్ఫామ్ చేయాలి.
ఓకే ఓకే మేడం.
ఆ,
చేస్తానండి.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir.
గుడ్
Good morning,
గుడ్
మార్నింగ్.
మార్నింగ్.
teachers.
గుడ్ మార్నింగ్.
Ma'am.
నమస్తే.
Rajni, ma'am.
ఎస్.
Ma'am,
Yes.
when will it be next session, ma'am? Like, it is not mentioned, so just when will be my presentation?
టుమారో వెనస్డే మ్యామ్. అనురాధ మ్యామ్
To
కెప్ట్ రైట్ ఇన్ ఫ్యామిలీ గ్రూప్.
Group. Aruna teacher, it is in our family group, ma'am. Matri DAV group.
Okay, okay,
Ah,
okay. I didn't see like a second, the
On
second.
Saturday, I
Uh,
believe she kept, right?
I didn't see one.
I will forward again only our part. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, ma'am. Yeah,
Okay.
thank
You
you. Yeah.
just please remind me at the end of this session. I will forward you
Okay,
or put in
okay,
the
ma'am.
social
Yeah.
group itself. You are there in social group,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, ma'am. Yeah, I'm there in social
In
group,
that I
ma'am.
will put.
Okay, ma'am.
good morning, Rajni ma'am.
Good morning, Annapurna. Good morning.
Good morning, teachers.
Good morning, Rajni ma'am.
Good morning, Vanilla.
Good morning, Rajni. Good morning, all. Rajni, all the best.
Thank you, Swati. Swati, when you are having?
Saturday,
Okay.
11 o'clock.
Oh. Three more people to join, right?
Good morning, Rajni.
Good morning, Shantanu ma'am.
Everyone, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Shantini
good
ma'am.
morning, ma'am.
And good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. Shakti, ma'am.
shall we start? It's 9 to.
Yes, Rajni, we can start with
yes, ma'am,
Gayatri
start.
Mantra.
Yes, ma'am. Gayatri Mantra.
ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्.
It was audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. A warm welcome to all on this virtual platform. My topic for the day is social sciences and its applications. Now, today's agenda is understanding the following attributes of social sciences, that is, the meaning, importance, objectives, comparison, and applications of social sciences. The subject of geography is called the mother of all branches of knowledge. Philosophy is considered as the mother of science and all other subjects. And these both subjects are branches of social sciences. So, teachers, be proud and let's pat ourselves to be social sciences teachers. Very well quoted by George Stingler that there is only one social science and we are its practitioners. Dear colleagues, as we know, power is the striving force which keeps the momentum of life on this planet, and so it is the pivotal concept around which social sciences revolves. This was very well described in a famous quote by Bernard Russell. It goes like this: the fundamental concept in social science is power, in the same sense in which energy is the fundamental concept in physics. I hope the importance of our subject, social sciences, is very loud and clear to all of us. Now, before moving ahead, let us discuss the meaning of social sciences in brief. So, our first question is, what is the meaning of social studies? Social studies is a part of school or college curriculum concerned with the study of social relationships and functioning of society, and usually made up of courses like history, geography, government, economics, civics, sociology, anthropology, and so many list of subjects are the branches of social sciences. Now, after what it is, let us understand its importance as a subject for young minds. So, our next question is, what is the importance of social studies? We all know skills like reading, writing, math, science are useful stepping stones that help students make future education and career decisions. But social studies or social sciences education helps students understand the world they live in, so they make informed decisions about issues affecting them, especially when they grow older. It helps students to become better citizens. Subjects like social studies and its branches like economics, political science, history, educate students on political ideologies, constitutional laws, citizenship, rights and duties, morals and virtues, social code of conduct. Thus, students make aware of their roles and responsibilities by studying social studies. And as early as possible, if they understand it, the better the world will be. As we claim ourselves to be social beings with elite position on the list of living beings. So as early we will understand, our children will understand, the easy the life will be on this planet. Our next important question about social studies is, what are the 4 key goals of social studies? Any subject or topic without defined goals or objectives is like a compass devoid of its needles. So, what are the 4 key goals of social studies? Growing. First goal we can say as growing civic minded citizens. Growing civic minded citizens. Civic ideals and practices are main themes in social studies. According to National Council of Social Sciences, that is growing civic minded citizens is the first goal. Second goal is creating cultural competencies. As new education policy is stressing on various competencies, so creating cultural competency is part of our responsibility as social sciences teachers. The next is generating geography and global knowledge. Now the world is like a global village. So geography teachers, those who are dealing with geography, or when we are teaching geography in our classes, it is our responsibility to spread global knowledge among students so that they can be global citizens when they grow up without having any boundaries. They cannot be knowledge cannot be bound within the boundaries of states or countries. And our fourth goal is understanding economics, production and consumption. Now I know some of you might be having this pertinent doubt, how social sciences or social studies are similar and different to each other, because sometime we'll be using social sciences, sometime we'll be saying social studies. So what is the difference, how they are related, how they are different from each other? So next question is, what is the difference between social science and social studies? The main difference between social science and social studies is in its intended purposes. The purpose makes the difference between these two subjects. Now, social studies is the integrated study of the social sciences and humanities to promote effective citizenry, that is citizens. It is mainly taught in primary and secondary schools. Whereas the social sciences are branches of study that analyze society and the social interactions of people within a society. Now this is the theoretical part of our subject of study. Now let us move on to the ways to bring the real world into our classrooms. How to bring social studies into our classrooms, which make children associate with the world in which they interact or they are going to be part of in future. The number one key is, now before I'll start with this keys, how to bring the real world into our classrooms, like each point you can see on your screens. After each point we are going to discuss how we can implement in our classrooms with the examples. Few I will be quoting, and I expect each one of you to give at least one topic or concepts which can be dealt in the way we will be discussing in due course of time. So our first key is connecting with parents, utilizing local resources and community support. Now, social studies standard depends on context. Therefore, like standards can vary from state to state and region to region. By using local connections, teachers can weave a rich, dynamic portrait of a historical period for our students. Students can explore the local history of the community in which they live through written and spoken stories, through landmarks and parks, through traditions such as foods, festivals, other events of the community or of individual families. And it is very contextual now, as most of the children are living in nuclear families. So it is our responsibility to connect them with their community, with their local folks, with the stories, with the morals. Because earlier, when the family system was different, all these virtues they used to get from their family members, but now they are devoid of all this as they are part of nuclear families. So now that responsibility lies with us as social sciences teachers. So we need to connect with their parents, we need to use the local resources and take the community support while doing all this. My input is we conduct activities like activity day, various celebrations, and we practice all these celebrations, activities, activity days, and various other events. It is very usual in DAVs. Now the floor is open for discussion, like what all topics we can use, or we can do with these kind of teaching strategy. How can we include parents? How can we connect parents? How can we use local resources or community support? How we can do all this with various topics? Few examples if I can get from you all. Any teacher, please?
By visiting nearby post office,
Yes.
banks,
Yes. Very good.
and even we
Historical
take children to
visiting in historical monuments.
Historical
Yeah.
monuments, yes.
Ma'am, asking children to nearby neighborhood places and list out them in their books,
Yes.
or and who are the community helpers over there. We can ask them to write.
Yes.
But everything is possible with only with practical experiences, madam.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Like even children in during their lunch time and all, they bring different snacks, different lunch items, which represent different regions, isn't it? Even food can be a topic in
Yes.
primary classes, through which we can teach, or sometime we can give like some theme, a theme, like if possible, few of them, those who are ready, we are going to have this theme today, and the children, if suppose they are bringing something specific to any region they belong to, they can inform their friends, they can come up in front of the class and they can tell what is the name of that food item, where it is found, how it is made, and any cultural importance, or all that information children can give, so that they will come up with speaking skills in front of the children, and they will be proud to inform something which they know or they are related to. Like same dresses also, isn't it? Or folk songs, some stories, this all can be used. And when these children, they will go back to their homes and they will say, tomorrow we are supposed to do this, or today I informed about this particular food item, or about this dress which we wear, to my classmates, to my teachers. Even parents will be connecting to what is going on in the classrooms. during Bonalu festival.
Ma'am,
We can
fancy dress.
involve in
Yes,
such activities which are related to the family relations.
yes. Even at
Even
classroom level also, by taking the permission from the management and all, we can conduct small activities, especially below 5th class. It will be very motivating for the children, and it will be
yes,
like a
it is.
binding
Very
force.
much
Yes,
so.
they will feel that they will the ownership in the class with the studies, with the teachers.
Ma'am, fancy dress belong based on different regions.
Yes, they can do. Within a period we can finish the fancy dress and about food. No need that every time the whole class need to speak, isn't it? 4 5 students, if they speak, that is more than enough, because in turn they will be getting their chances.
Even the festivals too, ma'am.
Yes, festivals also. And so our next key to bring the real world into our classroom is depth over breadth. As we know, social studies is notoriously very vast and overwhelming. We all agree to it. Even children keep on complaining. Very vast chapters, ma'am. So many topics,
Yes,
isn't it? And
100%.
yes, and covering more topics than most students can possibly retain. Actually, it is very difficult for the children to retain, because nowadays children are having very short span of attention, so it is very difficult for them to retain so huge, so big portion and chapters and concepts. And research found that uh, teaching depth over breadth to be very beneficial for improving student grades and preparing them for future education. And as educators, as teachers, we need to strive to teach key portions of topics by integrating content and literacy. Now, what is that? That means letting students inquiry driven instruction can be given. Like children can ask, initially they will do some inquiry, and then they keep on asking, and then in that interactive way we can conduct few of the topics, instead of like we are only giving our inputs over the topics. And by providing hands on experience wherever possible, it's not possible with every topic, isn't it? And if we keep on doing, even we are unable to cope up with the pressure of completing our portions too. Even we all agree to it. So we must educate for quality instruction over quantity of topics taught. And as students develop a deeper understanding of various concepts of social studies, they start to grow an appreciation for what makes up much of their culture and community. Instead of we giving all our explanation, if children do certain things on their own, on their own with the help of the teachers and parents, then they will develop that interest and appreciation for the subject. And by inspiring students to explore social studies at a younger age, we strive to instill curiosity, personal growth, and a desire to learn beyond textbooks, which will help students to get out of the mindset that social studies is very boring, very dry, very vast, and we are supposed to only read at the last moment and just to pass this subject. Actually, if they start taking interest in this subject, they will love this subject irrespective what they are choosing after their 10th. It is not that they are supposed to only choose that, because that mindset is there anyhow. After 10th we need not have to continue with this, why I should study. But they can be a lifelong social studies teacher if they are interested, that curiosity is instilled at a very small age. And whatever the stream they are choosing, there are many options for them, like civils, UPSC, so many exams are there, and in most of the exams social studies is there in every exam. So it should not be there in their mind that anyhow till 10th only we have to study, so no need to pay more attention. They should love this subject. and that can be done by adopting various ways, though in spite of having a very vast portion for us in front of us to complete. Now, what all topics can be dealt through hands on experience or inquiry based chapter? Few
Ma'am,
chapters. Yes.
debit, debits and group discussions.
Debates and group discussions. Okay, any topics from your class you like to quote?
Uh, saving environment.
Hmm.
Ma'am, even waste management also.
Yes, waste management. Lot of discussion can be done.
And development in the means of transportation.
Yeah, old time type of transportation and modern type of transportation.
Yes.
Communication, ma'am.
Communication. Yes. Means of communication.
Marginalization.
Marginalization, reservation. Yesterday, as the topic was going on, like protected discrimination. When we start this discussion on reservation, whether 33% should be given to females or not, a very hot discussion we can expect from our students.
Yes.
Enquiry based, any enquiry based in which students they will learn the topic by asking various questions to the teachers or among each other.
Ma'am, about community services.
Yes. Like community services, suppose some problems are there about sanitation and all, like whom to approach, how to approach, who all are there in various hierarchies, or what are the various departments. They can ask the question, ma'am, whom to approach, who will do this, who is responsible for this work. If we are going to that person, they are not responding, then how can we voice our concern? There are various ways in which they will, once we will ignite that, they will get so many doubts, and those doubts, if we are clarifying, our urban and local government chapter will get over, isn't it?
Directions, like
Yes.
where the child is standing.
Is it Aruna, ma'am? Your voice is very
Yes,
low,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Ayyo.
uh,
Ma'am, can we ask about the directions also, like where the child is standing and which
directions
side?
Directions, like yesterday GPS topic was
Yeah.
going on in longitudes
Yeah.
and latitudes. When you go,
Latitudes. Yeah.
the real life problems can be given. You will be given a road where a lot of traffic is there, it is showing on
And-
your this thing, and another thing, it will take a little longer, but traffic is less in that region, isn't it, on that path?
Yes.
So few such questions can be given, then 2 or 3, and then more number of questions will come from children's end, because nowadays children are very much aware of these gadgets, the usage and all. They also know, isn't it? So decision making can be instilled in them, like how to take decision.
Occupation,
Yes, occupation.
ladies, nation,
Yes.
ladies and
Yes.
girls.
Various occupations which are available, or which they can adopt when they grow up, or about various places. If suppose we are saying tomorrow we are going to start with Australian continent, and few questions will be given to them, very few, then children will find out so much, and they will come up with so much of information, and from that they will explain, as well as they will have our questions should be in such a way that they will instill in their mind so much of curiosity that they will also ask various things about the same topic. So we need to make our topics in such a way that we will give some input to them, they will give their some input to us, as well as they will ask a lot of questions. interactive class, and question answer is the best way. Even children, the child who is very introvert, who is very least interested in the class to come up with his doubts also will come up, if we are going to plan with such topics which will create interest in all children. Such topics we can take, and certain topics which we only take for like explanation purpose but not for exams and all, such kind of chapter, religion and all, those chapters can be very wonderfully dealt using this method. Now next is invite guest speakers. By bringing a guest speaker who works in a field connected to what we are teaching in the class, or what they are studying, what the children are studying in their class, about like a journalist, an architect, or a computer programmer or computer engineer, scientist, social scientist, a doctor, a civil servant, political representatives, these people. And nowadays as we are connected to them through online classes, through monitors, isn't it, this work is even more easy. We are having number of like TED talks, motivational speakers and all, easily without taking their appointment or like inviting them to our campus. Very easily we can show it to our children. It has become even more easier in this online mode. As you are saying, like community help, the community helpers who will help us in various fields. If like videos are shown in which they are speaking about their work and all, children will get really motivated, and they will aspire to become in their future one such person, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
And our next like key to the real world is real world research. What is now real world research? As adults we do research all the time, yes, though we may not call it exactly as research, but we keep on doing a research. Whenever we want to take a vacation or throw a party or make major purchases, we research our options, and after that we'll take our decision, isn't it? So by using the same pattern of behavior with our students, if we are teaching suppose geography, have students plan a trip to the country we are going to study. Now online mode, it is very easy, and there are so many options like museum visit, online museum visit, various countries, lot of videos are available on YouTube. We can use it for children, so that earlier when it was in a physical mode, children could only able to see the pictures given in their textbook, but now children, we can show them in videos, through videos. By that they can notice about the weather, various historical sites, before we start our chapter. It is like a visit, virtual visit. We can take them to virtual visit. Which topics can be done through this mode? Any inputs from your end, teachers?
Yeah, countries like Google Earth, we can take them to visit countries.
Yes, various countries, cities. And like we'll teach them about various grasslands, temperate grasslands or tropical grasslands, and we keep on explaining and telling the difference between this and that and all, or physical features, how exactly they look. When we say what is peak, what is a peak, what is estuary, these all things, when we show them in real life, like through videos, it is very easy, and it will get registered in their brains, which they cannot easily forget. And whenever they are going with their families and all, they can very easily identify, and they can say, mama, that is that, this is this. And even parents will be very happy, yes, my child is doing is taking interest,
Yeah, aware of this.
Aware of this, yes, and that he is connecting to the real world. Simply if you are saying delta, he is not aware. Or if you are simply saying a lagoon or a lake, only through words, through explanation, child cannot connect. But if like Chilika Lake or Wooler Lake, or any dull lake is shown to them. The child himself can make what is the difference. Dull lake, oh, it is a frozen lake. Whereas Sambar lake, there half the lake is shining like a, it is a salt lake, and it is where it is found. What is a lagoon? How a peak will look like? All this can be shown to them. And historical sites in our surroundings, in our city, we can make a visit. But certain things like
Flora,
yes, museum in
flora,
Venice. Yes, ma'am, Florence.
flora and fauna also they can.
Yeah, flora and fauna, about various animals and plants, which we tell difference between deciduous forest and tropical forest and Mediterranean forest. If we show them the difference, they immediately they will recognize it, and they need not have to cram it when they are studying. That those images will come, and images have more impact on our brains than letters and words.
We can differentiate between hill and mountain also, ma'am.
Yes, hill and mountain, yes. Moving pictures definitely have their impact on the brains of the children in a very positive way, which they cannot really forget, isn't it? Children, they are very curious and enthusiastic when they are taken to movies. That day, that is like a picnic for them. Why? Because they will be
Yes, yes.
watching something which is moving, which is real life. Their
Yeah,
people
it's audible
audible,
and
yes,
visible.
visible,
Yeah, yeah.
yes.
Big screen.
Big screen,
They like
yes.
something very.
Yes. So such kind of small videos and all, if we add in our
As,
studies. Yes, sir.
you know, most of the Hindi movies are made based on the historical incidents. Nowadays,
Yes.
producers and so they are taking the historical events, especially the important topics that we teach in our history part of social science are the the scripts
Yes.
and the stories for the making movies.
Movies like Mohenjo-daro, that movie, which if we show them, they can understand that about Harappan culture very very clearly, but provided that not only they simply watch the complete 3-hour movie, we can make them watch, and in between we have to pause and tell what is that, and we just some questions we have to put, so that they will observe those things on the clippings.
Yes, historical characters also they can
Characters, yes.
forever.
Actually, one more movie I saw about the boy, even TED Talk also came, a boy who harnessed the wind. A boy from some South African country, he has made a windmill on his own, a small school going child.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, a very
Yes, ma'am.
wonderful movie, not only like useful for science students, like for science teachers, even for sustainable development, and it's a very motivating. I recommend children and teachers to watch this movie. A boy who, it is available in Netflix actually. A boy who
Yes, ma'am.
harnessed the wind. Very beautifully picturized movie. So our moving to our next real world, how to bring real world into our classroom. Our next thing is use primary source documents. Now, what are these primary source documents? And this is actually as a yes, sir. Resources, yes. In our textbook, where we find like primary source document, usually in every textbook it is found, irrespective of the subject. We'll find this in every textbook. Our preamble, it is there, found in, it is in every page, in the very front page of the textbook. It is a primary source document, isn't it? And as social studies teacher, we are very familiar with this term. It can be a document, it can be a photograph. Various original photographs, black and white photographs, are available of freedom struggle, during freedom struggle, various pacts which are signed among our leaders, or world wars, or various events which took place already world over, if those pictures are shown to children and asked to observe the things carefully, they will take a lot of interest in that. If we say a constituent assembly was formed and they work like this and all, if those drafts, there are more than 2000 drafts are there which they have made in that, if those pictures of those drafts or the pictures of people sitting and discussing, and those members, those who are there, were present in that, and how a drafting commission chairman, if when we say Dr. Ambedkar, we need not have to say some differently or exclusively that he was the chairperson, or Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the chairman of Constituent Assembly. In the sittings, if we show like how they were sitting, who was there presiding their meeting, so they can very well understand that who was the chairman of the Constituent Assembly, who was the chairman of the drafting committee, who all members were present, how they discussed, what all things have happened. There are certain videos are available, photos are available, various drafted documents are available. These all things will have a great impact, and this will create interest among the students, which was made at that time, which we are studying now. And these documents make history come alive. Even we as adults, when we are shown like that report which was made by Lord Macaulay, which was sent to the Queen in 1683, isn't it? And through which English system of education was implemented in our country. What was the view about Indians? Britishers' view about Indians, very clearly it is visible. That can be shown with children. The words, the language, when they study, when they read themselves, they understand the motive, intention, how they have started, why they have started, and how we were. They can take pride in their culture, like how we were there at that time, and how changes were introduced in our system. So moving on to the next method, how we can bring real world into our classroom is observe the world around you or around us. We can teach our students how to conduct scientific observations, like by taking them out to the playground to observe plants, birds which are flying overhead, and ants on the ground. And when it is raining, we can show them, see how this various insects will be coming, or the dragonfly, when dragonflies are there, how it signifies that it is going to rain on and all. That real small real life things can be taught by making them to observe the things around them, or like bringing some trained dogs or pet animals and ask the students to observe its behavior. And it is actually now a topic of study. We teach them like how the behavior changes, animal behavior changes before any natural calamity occurs. All that can be, instead of simply teaching, that can be shown to children. How ants in rainy season, or in between when rains will pause, how ants will come out of the ant hill. These all patterns can be taught them by taking out from the classrooms and ask them to observe. And students will be really thrilled to have some this kind of sessions in the classrooms, and it is they will take a lot of keen interest, and it is a noble way and a different way to teach them. Yes, moving on to the next. Or do we have any topics which we can teach children by taking them to the ground? Any inputs from your end, teachers?
Directions, ma'am.
Yes, directions in our, we can show that compass which is there.
Ma'am, landforms, like not all.
Yes, landforms, soil.
Plateau plains we can show them, but hills and the mountains we can't show them.
Madam, conducting village panchayat environment under retreat.
That is enacting one. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Or like types of grass which is grown, or animals which are found, or flora and fauna which is found in our area, how it is different from other areas. Or we can ask, when you go to coastal area, there what you find. When you go to mountain area, how you find a difference between the animals and like flora and fauna. All these things can be
Like
taught.
mangroves and
Yes, how it is different when they visit, especially when they come back from their native places and all. They will go to various places. We can ask them, so that those inputs what they will give, and then how we can show in our place how it is different now here. We can ask them. So moving on to the next, we can say, we can make be the expert. How to make a child an expert? Have students evaluate something they read as if they are an expert in the field. If we give them that feel, they will really feel that they are expert. For example, if they were make psychiatrists, they would what they would say about Napoleon or Hitler. Are they were sane? If not, what kind of disorder or illness do they have? Provide students with real scientific information. It should not be biased, but we need to provide some real scientific information to help them diagnose the characteristics or those characters, and if possible bring in a psychiatrist to talk about it. Doctors, we can ask them to give talk to our children. This exposes students. First they will do all this diagnosis, and finally an expert or professional can be brought. This exposes student to different career fields and areas of study, and put a unique spin on their old books, like report cards, isn't it? They will be motivated. Yes, when I'll grow up I should become like this, because now these traits I am having, I'm interested in this, I'm interested in doing investigation, I'm interested in solving people's issues. Like that, we need to give them chance to become experts. Next is, we need to revamp our problems. Usually we keep on talking about, like especially in economics, mean, median, mode, averages. These all problems we keep on giving, but every time the same problem will not create interest in the children. Rather, sometimes if we bring an advertisement from a newspaper cutting and tell children, suppose like example, suppose a child who is getting 10 rupees a week as a allowance or a pocket money, and he really wants some new video game which is there in the ad, then we can ask them to pick out which one you like from that ad, and figure out how many weeks the child will have to save his allowance in order to pay for that game. It can be a game, it can be done with clothes, electronics, or any books which they like to read, or anything which they really want. So we need to change our problems and try to relate it to our day to day life, because they need to take decisions when they grow up. Next, we can use news. We can find ways to use news stories to make connections between our curriculum and the real world. There are a lot of news items. For example, like some news outlets which has recently or which we are going through, like pandemic, or the things which keeps on coming in the media. These all things, when children study, or the economic depression, these kind of topics, when they read, they will get great connection. These younger students studying about all these things, or reading this news or discussion in the class, will really help them to discuss various issues related to those problems, like how unemployment, poverty, racism, these all are related to these social problems, can be discussed through newspaper items. These stories can help students recognize that the concepts they learn about in the classroom really do affect the outside world. Like when we are like now the pandemic is going on, how many times pandemic has happened, what were the effects, how people has coped up with it, what was its impact on the economy, and then when economy is affected, how it affects us. All that can be taught, explained to the children, so that they will understand, yes, what we are studying in the classroom is really what is going on in the world. It is not something abstract concepts we are reading in the class. And especially culturally relevant lessons are a great way to engage student, how it is going to impact culture or various cultures, how they have developed, like Japan, how they have evolved their culture because they are prone to earthquakes and all, isn't it? So these kind of things really engage students. And while making our assignments, we should take care that they will look like real world problem. Instead of asking every time children to write an essay, like we'll keep on asking them, no, like activities and all, write a paragraph on this topic and all. We can find some assignments that can be useful for them in their real life. For that we can give some format, like writing a letter. It is not always like English teacher responsibility, even social teacher, how to write a letter to a local collector, because the topics which are discussed in that are related to our subject, isn't it? So by giving the formats and structure, we can they might use it in the adult world. Like pill, we can ask them to write their local problems in a postcard, isn't it, or draft a mail in the form of a pill. It is a social subject, isn't it? These younger students, they can manage this when they are taught this in the classrooms in a pre-formatted documents, and just they have to fill the blanks. Of course, students still need to write the same essay type of questions and activities, but still it doesn't hurt to vary it once upon a while. Even for us, even for a children, they are going to take interest, isn't it? And it teaches students useful skills for later in life, which will be very useful for them. And especially in our next way of mode of teaching is show a documentary, which is very easy in our own online mode. In classroom physical mode, we can use our smart classes, TVs. In online, it is very convenient for us to use this method. And so moving on to the next, we can stimulate a real world experience among the children. Now how this can be done among the children? Like stimulations required for such kind of stimulation, we need to we require a lot of planning and preparation. And they can be but they can be very extremely effective also when we are planning to stimulate a real world experience. Like we can ask children to read like Letters to My Daughters, or watch that, or Discovery of India. And then we can ask children to serve as a lawyer or a jury by watching that, like a few of the specific episodes and all, and have them dress appropriately, provide evidence, and give opening and closing arguments by the students, isn't it? They can recreate that mystery and that the theme in the story, or the scene of the crime, like Holocaust and all, the scene of the crime, or conduct some physical investigations. All this will help. Or in our social class, one more thing, like we can ask in our social studies class, create a country of your own. In that country, what laws would they create? Suppose they are creating a country of their own, what laws they would create, how would they govern their country? Or once they have made their decisions, compare their process, how they have made these laws and all for their country, their hypothetical country. Then we can compare their process, how they have done and how it actually happened in our country while they were drafting our constitution at the time of independence, isn't it? So the real life experience can also be used. And we can even bring some celebrity judges and celebrity coaches to our classrooms these kind of professionals really help students evaluate and revise their work as well. Once the assignment is given, they will do the assignment, and then talk by these professionals will help them to judge where they were, like what were their thought process, how much they were correct, and what all things they need to change. Their perception and all can be changed through these kind of talks by experts. There are a lot of messages especially nowadays, that about government, about this, about that, it is coming. Whether it is correct or not, a child needs to have that that mindset to properly investigate, to properly see that all those datas which are coming is correct or not. For that we can show them experts like economists or social scientists. These kind of lectures can be shown to children, which will open up their mind to take all the good thing, not to store whatever is coming from different sources of information. Next is we can publish student work for larger community. That can be done through our magazine, school magazine, but in this online mode it is even more easier. We can choose any topic of interest of our community, and we can ask children to collect stories about local histories, and we can give some research assignments to them on the prevalence of litter or graffiti or some other problems in their community, and have the students research and write up their findings, then determine how to publish that information. We can create a digital blog or digital portfolio by keeping our management in confidence and permission, by taking their permission, and we can post that in that blog made by our student. I remember like Vaishnavi, one of our second batch student, she keeps on, Vaishnavi and many other students, they keep on writing blogs and they publish, and we go through that. Like that, more children can be given that opportunity, isn't it? It will be easy for them to express their things and to connect to the community. And whichever approach we'll try, incorporating the larger world into our classrooms definitely will guarantee to be a memorable experience to us as well as to our students. By doing all these things, we can really help to bring real world into our classroom. So now let's have a quick recap of what we have studied through a video. Is it audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
one more minute, teachers, I would like to take of yours. Let us, the Social Sciences Department of Matrushri DAV School will visit to the Social Sciences Department of Oxford University. And let's see what is going on there.
Research and teaching at Oxford University covers the full range of academic disciplines. The university's academic departments, faculties and research centres are grouped into 4 divisions. Here's Social Sciences. Oxford's Social Sciences Division represents one of the largest groupings of social scientists in the world. We bring together outstanding departments, faculties and schools committed to tackling some of the major challenges facing humanity, such as sustainable resource management, migration, global governance, justice, poverty and development. The most recent Research Excellence Framework exercise confirmed Oxford as the UK powerhouse for social sciences research, with more world-leading or 4-star research than any other institution in our field. Over 5,000 students are enrolled on our wide-ranging, innovative programme of undergraduate and postgraduate courses, all underpinned by the groundbreaking research of our academics. Our graduates go on to be leaders in academia, business, law, government and politics, and many other professions. We are the Social Sciences at Oxford. Find out more here. Research.
My acknowledgements, which has helped me in my research: Google Photos, Ethopia, TeachHub, Edutopia, TeachHub and Pinterest. And thank you, teachers, for your patient listening. Thank you a lot. A quick 1-minute feedback if anyone is interested. It's almost 10, I think. Quick 1 or 2 minutes feedback if anyone would like to give.
Yes, Rajni.
Yes, Shantanu ma'am.
It was very informative and interesting. Wonderful session. Thank you. Thank you very much for your session.
Thank you, ma'am.
Madam, it was an interesting session, madam. And the difference is what you said today, social studies and social science. Okay, I got it today, madam. Thank you. Thanks a lot, ma'am.
Namaste, ma'am. I'm Brasuna, ma'am. The session was very excellent, ma'am. And as the differences between social science and social studies was clear for me today, as I'm from SSC background, till now I don't know the difference between the two. Today I got the clarification, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Prasanna.
Rajni, super.
Thank you, Swati.
Well and very clear. Excellent presentation.
Thank you,
Because we can give
Super.
part of
Excellent.
But it was a natural presentation, I can say.
Rajni, it was not super, supreme.
Thank you, thank you.
Excellent presentation, awesome presentation, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. It was very nice.
Very nice, ma'am.
It was not class specific. I thought maybe like in general about our subject we'll have.
Yes.
We understood how to bring our real world into our classroom, ma'am.
Yes.
It was very
A
nice.
small attempt before we start with our new academic session.
So we can expect more such presentations from you.
Yes,
Yes. Slowly, I am converting to a social teacher.
Yes.
Not fully, not half. So next session I will be attending science. I will not be in social.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, teachers. Thanks a lot.
And thank you, Rajni, for giving us such a wonderful session.
Thank you, ma'am.
We can wind up. Huh?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, teachers.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
The difference between the social studies and social science.
Aruna, again, your voice is very less.
Yeah, it's not audible.
Yes.
Okay. Now, ma'am, now is it clear?
It's
No,
clear,
even
but low. It's clear but low.
Okay.
Take the mic and speak, Aruna.
Yes, ma'am, I'm doing that only, and in my laptop it is full. Now,
I think the volume is very low in your laptop, Arna,
System
ma'am.
audio.
Try to increase that.
yeah, increased. That's the reason I'm saying.
Okay, you can speak.
And you enlightened us the difference between the social studies and social science And when I was in my class, I mean in school days, I was very poor in social, and unexpectedly I came into this department, and I will be keeping on learning many things from this department. Yeah, it was interesting, ma'am. Super.
Thank you so much.
Many things are there to learn.
Thank you, Arnab.
Ma'am, this is Prasanna.
Yes, Prasanna ma'am.
This is like we are attending social science workshops. This is the first time. From yesterday onwards, we are learning new things, and your session was very interesting, ma'am. Thanks a lot, ma'am. We will try to implement all this, whatever the takeovers you have given, no, ma'am. We will try to implement in our classroom, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
So much.
It was very informative, ma'am. Thank you.
Should we end the meeting?
Yes, social science teacher, we, come across the situations, wherein we try to, find ourselves, amongst the, the group of science teachers and mathematics teachers. But I don't think like, after, after the illustrations, the situations and simulations that we got in this session, so we cannot feel as equal as, as important as, other subject teachers. And I don't find any such, thought of, being inferior to other subject teachers.
Yes. In fact,
Thank you, ma'am.
options are more for us as social teachers.
Yes, ma'am. That's it's a blue ocean
Yes.
after social science, but the people do not measure and do not recognize it. Always try to measure and compare with the material well-being, properties,
It is like
career,
sitting on the bank and trying to measure the depth of the sea. It is very difficult unless and until we break that fear or that hesitation from the students' mindset, and of course from our mindsets also.
our mindset.
Yes, it is going to be great help not only for us and our students, but as for the subject, being the practitioner of this subject.
Most of us would like to see the fruits and the top layers of tree, but none of us to see that base and the strength of the root. So that is not social science, which gives values and character building and the ethics and the personality to face the challenges and interpersonal and all these things. It's a fantastic subject. It's a good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Looking forward for your next session, sir.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
All your cooperation.
Thank you.
Rajni, ma'am?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Aruna.
Ma'am, like, yes, will you post that timetable? Like, after the session?
Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Shall we leave, Rajni?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.